plenty of product. You got one sample.
All right, yeah, that's my breakfast.
Thank you very much.
Next,
I love turkey.
next we'd like to welcome Bob Simmons of Madisonville Community College
Did you get the
Workforce
pepper or the
Solutions.
original?
And he's gonna talk to us about how to train our employees better, or how he's gonna help us train them. Is that it?
So what kept it warm for you?
Thank you very much. It's okay, I'm going to stand down here so I can see the screen too. There's a lot of detail that I don't have up here. Let me start off by saying I'm not an entrepreneur, but I know a little bit about it. When I first went to work here, it was with radio stations, and I was with them for about 31 years. And when I retired, I was still just 25, or no, well, about 50. And that was too young to quit working, so I had an opportunity to go to work for the University of Kentucky at the time through the community college at a center that was downtown. Some of you may remember called the BIDTAC, the Business and Industry Technical Assistance Center. And I guess the reason they hired me was the business background, because certainly I was not an entrepreneur. My only attempt at it was not a good experience. I went in business with a couple of folks in a print shop, and I didn't know much about a print shop, so it didn't work out very well. But I did go to work for the BIDTAC for the purpose of being an entrepreneurial trainer and advisor or counselor. And basically, it was a 6-month program, half of which was classes, half of which was assisting people in getting their business plans together and actually launching their business. And we had a class of, I think it was 22, and of the 22, I think maybe 20 of my students actually did start a business somewhere in western Kentucky. So that part of it was reasonably successful. What I'm going to talk about today, though, really is, as you heard earlier, it is about the college's program called Workforce Solutions. That program had many names before Workforce Solutions, but that was the program that the BIDTAC actually operated under when it was just simply called Business and Industry. Over the years, it has evolved a great deal. There were just a few training programs at the time. Now, and you'll see, there are many, many training programs. The department itself, Workforce Solutions, has expanded to cover many areas, and I'll try to hit those just briefly because I understand that my time is limited. Under Workforce Solutions now is adult education, the assessment center, continuing education, community education, employee search assistance, and the customized training that was mentioned earlier. One of the programs that is available, and we have instructors that deal with all of the ISO programs. If you're doing a product that is going to be sold internationally, especially in Europe and Asia, ISO will be an important factor because most buyers will insist that your product is ISO certified. These may mean little to you, but these are the various kinds of ISO certifications that you have to deal with depending on what kind of a product that you have. A big part of our program over the years has been lean manufacturing. Lean manufacturing is something that has been around for a good long while. It's not new, it's not even that out of the ordinary. But what lean manufacturing is a combination of a lot of existing programs that make it into a format that's teachable, if you will. Actually, the original lean manufacturing program that we do is one that came out of the University of Kentucky. It was created in conjunction with the University of Kentucky's engineering department and Toyota USA, as it was known at that time. They put together a program primarily because Toyota, being a very successful company, wanted to help their suppliers also be successful for obvious reasons, to keep the prices down. And so they put this program together and then helped spread it across the state. Originally, it was a program that was just going to be done by the University of Kentucky, but it was so popular that very quickly it became apparent that UK did not have the personnel to go out and do it. So we had a very active business and industry program here at Madisonville Community College, and so they asked us to take the western end of the state, if you would. After that, they sort of moved on to the international stage, and our program covered pretty much the state of Kentucky, with some exceptions of where we did go outside of the state. That program, again, very briefly, is based on an 8-hour simulation, which is an introduction to lean manufacturing. We expanded it from there to also have one now, which we call the enterprise or service branch of lean manufacturing. It's a little bit shorter course. It's aimed at the office side, if you would, and that grew then into a version of it for the medical profession, which is based on the operation of surgery department, the paperwork part of it. Following the simulations, there's a lean implementation program, basically 40 rough hours, and these are some of the things that go on in that implementation. We look at value stream mapping, Kaizen, the visual factory, customized training for whatever that industry happens to be. The customized training is much broader than just lean manufacturing, although part of this is what is taught in the implementation phase, 5S, how things cleaned up and organized. Train the trainer, which is the goal. We don't put ourselves in the position of trying to be their forever trainer. We actually try to train people within their organization how to pass this knowledge along. Soft skills training, as you can see, covers a wide range of areas, and here we count on experts as adjunct faculty primarily, and we've got some very good people that do customer service and team building. We're working with a number of companies here right now. There's classes going on almost every week with people from General and other businesses in our community. The rest of it, I think, is pretty well self-explanatory, so I won't take a lot of time to go over that. One of the other programs within Workforce Solutions is the Adult Center for Education, or A-Squared, which probably you've heard about. If you were at the mall, there's a office out there, a computer lab where that goes on. The primary facility is over on School Avenue. Chris Crowley runs that whole operation, and it a few years ago expanded over into Muhlenberg County along with the college, when the college was built over there. So the goal of adult education primarily is preparation for either GED or just simply furthering knowledge, brushing up on knowledges that people would need to go to college, and is aimed primarily at folks that did not have the opportunity to finish high school. The assessment center also is located over on School Avenue, and if you're not familiar with School Avenue, it's the little street that runs back behind the old football stadium, and over there, the assessment center is set up to do any number of tests which are aimed at industry, at further education, whatever kind of test that's out there that people need to take advantage of. It's generally covered with what you see on the screen right here, work keys. The Pearson VUE is the computer version of GED now. Of course, CLIP tests and TAPE tests and the COMPASS test, which is an entry test into college. All you have to do, if you've got employees that need any of that, is contact the folks over at the assessment center, the number that's there. I didn't make handouts for all of this, but let me just mention here, if you should want this presentation just for information purposes, if you'll drop me an email, I'll be happy to email it back to you. I'll give you the email address, but we probably should write it up there. It's bob.simmons@kctcs.edu. A very important part of the program that goes on with Workforce Solutions is under our continuing education and professional licensing. Almost every area of professional services are covered by some state regulations. And one of the regulations that you find most often is so many hours of continuing education in each year. We offer courses for pretty much all of them. If you don't see one that would affect your company up there, it's probably something that we could put together for you. Because again, these are taught by professionals that are adjunct faculty to Madisonville Community College. Under the technical education, we do a variety of training, more commonly things like AutoCAD, blueprint reading, OSHA-related training, maintenance welding. All of these are done through Workforce Solutions, but by another department in the AIT program there has the trained faculty and staff to do pretty much all of these kinds of training, and what we do is try to match up the needs of employers to what we have to offer. This is one that's, that could be important to your business. The job profiling and assessments, we have two that we work directly out of the North Campus. There are, I think, 3 of us that are certified in both the work profile system and work keys. The work profile system is one we recommend to businesses who are new to the community, startup businesses, especially larger companies that come. And Gerald can tell you, we always pitch this to the companies that are looking at Madisonville, because it is a real jump start for them to deal with the personnel issues of a startup organization or a company that is expanding into the Madisonville area. I'll give you a little more detail on some of these. We have an employee selection process, which we put together back when automotive industries first came to Madisonville. You remember automotive industries, it's changed names several times, but it's still here right across from Gerald's place out on the west side of town. Basically, it's a organized plan which we implement for companies, with our people doing the legwork and the companies making the decisions as we go through the process. It starts with job profiling, and one of our profilers will go to wherever they need to go to look at people doing the jobs that are going to be done in the Madisonville plant or the Western Kentucky area plant, and profiling those with a process that's was created by Savile Holdsworth, an international company that's been in the job selection training area for many, many years. We take that profile then, and we can create from that test batteries, interview processes, a number of things for the client. Then we move to the application stage, and if it's a small type of company that's opening, we're talking about maybe a dozen or 2 employees, that can be done just out of our offices. If it's a big company, we've had several of those. You may remember when Rexam came to town. I think we had over a 3-day period, about 1,700 applicants. Well, obviously, for a company just coming to town, it's unlikely they're going to have enough people in their HR department to handle that kind of a job. So the community college partners with the employment services people to put on a job fair is probably not a good description of it, but we take applications for them and do initial testing. And typically for that we use a very simple little test that called a Wonderlic test you may be familiar with, but it can be done in about 12 minutes. And so we set up an assembly line, if you would, again out at Gerald's place, and we can run 300, 400, 500 people a day through that process to narrow down to employees or people who are likely to be employees of a company, and they make the decision on where the cutoffs are there. But beyond that, then they move on to testing that is more job specific, which is again part of the work profile system. That's followed by candidate orientations, and we help companies there again by setting up orientation sessions for them, and we ask them actually to do that, to tell potential employees about the job, about the working conditions, what the salary ranges are, what the expectations of the company are, and what they should expect in terms of what the job is. And we call that the opportunity to opt out. And the purpose of that is not everybody, once they hear that, there's excessive heat, or maybe there's excessive cold, or it's a job that, or odd hours, or any number of reasons, and we do have a few people at that time opt out. And the purpose of that is, okay, now you know we get into the more expensive kind of testing to actually be selected by the company. We even go through then our job-specific testing, give that to the company, and help them set up interviews. The benefits of this, obviously, we can manage very large applicant pools, we can identify the best candidates, we can streamline the interview process for a company so they hire the best applicants and reduce the number of hours of training that are necessary to actually get them on the job. And what we tell the companies very often is that we can do all of this before an applicant even steps foot on your property. And that's important to some companies. They want to know that it's a likely hire or actually make a job offer before they actually come to the company's property. We also have a mechanism for helping to pay for training, job selection, what have you. This is a new name for an old product, and it has changed somewhat. The old product was called Kentucky Wins, and it had a set formula for financial assistance to companies that are doing business with the community college as far as training employees are concerned. It has its own parameters that you must meet, but they're pretty general. And what we find is most training for local industries or businesses will fit into that. Basically, if you took a total training cost or selection process that costs $5,000, KCS Trains will pay 50% of that, or $2,500. The company pays the other 50% plus a 10% admin fee, which goes to KCTCS. So the total cost to the company then is reduced almost in half. The other thing that does not directly come under Workforce Solutions, but I thought you might be interested in seeing it, is the Business Synergy Lab, which is new, and which, by the way, we do schedule this for companies that want to use it. Brianna Pantano, who's in our department now, does that scheduling. So if this looks interesting to you, she can give you more details and actually help you with it. But this is the large area room, review company meetings, organization meetings. The MAMA has met there several times. By the way, MAMA has changed meetings now in order to expand and take advantage of the other companies that are within the I-69 area. And it's now called I-69 Alliance, Industry Alliance. Thank you. I'm not going to read this for you, but this is the vision and statement, mission statement for that Business Synergy Lab. The three main areas are what they now call the Ideation Center. For those of you my age, that probably would have said brainstorming. Remember that? Okay. The younger folks have a different name for it. And it is quite a nice area to do that in. A tiered classroom like you would see on most college campuses for large training sessions. And a boardroom, which is just a very comfortable place if you're having roundtable discussions or presentations that include a relatively small group of people. It's just a very, very nice boardroom. Just a reminder that Workforce Solution is your training provider of choice. We're here to work for every business, industry. I haven't mentioned mining, but mining is a big part of what we do as well. And we can be reached on the board here, or you can visit our webpage at the webpage listed there. Okay, questions? Yes.
Is there a minimum number of job positions that have to be available so we can utilize your services?
No, not really. It would be pretty expensive if you were just looking at hiring 2 or 3 people. I mean, just say that, but as far as a minimum, no. We can do it even individual training on certain things and do it.
I'm thinking more of, and he briefly touched on it earlier, I don't know about the rest of you, but finding good help that actually come to work on time is probably the single most difficult thing for a small business owner to overcome. And some sort of opportunity to find qualified individuals who seeking a position, they're serious about seeking a position, that really have bills to pay because they have to make a job so they can pay those bills, those kind of people. If we had access to that in any way, shape, form, or fashion as small business members, I think that would be an overwhelming help for us.
You know, at times in the past, that has been talked about, even back before Joe was here with us. We looked at having a job pool type of computer system, but actually there are ways through services that you can look for individuals with certain skill bases. So that might be a better way to go about it than trying to hire somebody and train them, for a specific job.
Okay. Well, any suggestions you've got, we would love to hear about that.
Okay. Other questions?
This is not a question, Bob, just to support some of the things you're saying there. At our ideal markets, we contracted with your office to prepare and present customer service training for our employees. And Felicia Johnson and Beth Norton prepared and presented, and those 2 women are fabulous. And we had a very good experience with them.
Glad that worked for you. They are very good. Yeah, no question. Other questions or comments? Yes.
When you train these large sums of people, even if they don't, say, get the job that you guys are being trained for, could like a person, small business like me, put in, hey, you've got a guy qualified that's clean, that wants to pay bills, as she said, wants to work. Could you possibly send them, to my way or something, a small business?
Those rejects were not the business.
Let me just say this. Since some other company would be paying for it, it wouldn't be something that we would do overtly. But, you know, if you happen to know somebody that was taking the training, you know, people do change their mind about who they want to work for.
How about if those large companies that are paying for it, we're okay with getting the people that are not super qualified for their huge high-paying jobs, and we'll pay them a dividend back off of their training expenses in order to facilitate that transfer.
Those are all deals I would say it would be worth trying.
I'm serious. Not stealing, I'm talking about the ones that didn't make the cut.
It's giving them opportunity to go to work, they're really legit and need to work.
Okay, we're down to the last 2 minutes. Any other questions or comments?
The person that comes from the corporation.
Yeah.
Anybody? Well, I have a comment, but I want to say, you have a most fantastic voice. Have you been an announcer or any
I
kind
was
of?
in the radio business for 31 years.
Yeah, he does have a great voice. And I got, through leadership Hopkins County, I got to go out and spend some time at the college and the ideation center. It is so cool. Have you all been out there? It is really, if you haven't had a chance to use it or just even go, I'm sure they'd love us to let you come out and see it. It is a really, really professional, just, I hate to say neat after professional, but it's neat. It's really cool. And yeah, take advantage of it. This is something that we have here in this community that's a great resource. Thank you, Bob. Do you have anything else that you want to?
No, I'm just curious. If you need me, I can be reached at the college. Just do the regular number, or my actual telephone number is 270-824-8664. I don't dial my own number that often, so.
I know, it's hard to remember that. Yeah, these days it is. Well, thank you so much. Really good information. And Kevin's tricking us up here, so we never know what door to come in now. This is going to be great. If you're late, you got to walk in front of everybody, so we won't make you sing or anything, but we won't be right. But let's see, next week we have, and they're with us today, we have Blue Dot Taxi and Lloyd's Limousine Service. Paul and Ginger are going to speak to us next week about this exciting new, I'm so excited, I dreamed them into existence. We were in a group and we were thinking, what do we need in town? And we came up with all this, and then the next week they were like, hey, we've got this new taxi and limousine service. I'm like, this is great. So they're just coming out the gate like gangbusters. They're going to speak to us next week. Do we have another presenter for next week?
We have another educational component.
Oh, good. We have another educational component next week. That'll be good. Those are great to kind of supplement what we've been learning from the entrepreneurs.
Those are on the announcements section of that sheet.
I read the sheet. They're on the announcement section of the sheet. There you go. I'm just an entrepreneur. I'm not a reader. Anyhow, thank you so much for coming, and have a wonderful week. And if you would like to present, please let one of us know. Go to our website, Hopkins County 1 Million Cups. If you Google that, it will get you right to the website. Thank you so much. Have a great week.